All right. Good evening. Welcome to the November 17th Township Committee meeting. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to
to the flag
of the
of the United States of America and to the republic
for
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all. Before we get started, I just want to take, and please everybody mute their phones. I just wanted to take a second to have a moment of silence for Richard O'Neill. Richard O'Neill was the co-owner of the newly opened New York Bagel and Sandwich Shop on Springfield Avenue. He was also a former auxiliary police volunteer who lost his life recently. So just a moment of silence for Mr. Richard O'Neill. Thank you. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this is the state for the record that adequate notice to this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2020 to the News Record and Star Ledger December 2019, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Adams.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Mr. DeLuca.
Here.
Mr. Lembrick.
Here.
Mayor McGee.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public in any meeting. And whereas desire the governing body to comply with the provision of this act, same time conducts business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee of Township of Maplewood, does hereby prohibit except to set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the governing body by the public, except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the observations of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Mr. Lembrick.
Yes.
Mayor McGee.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Fritzen. I'll now run through the agenda for this evening. First, we have a proclamation on Transgender Day, which will be read by Mr. Daffis, and Shannon Cuttle will also be part of that. Then we'll move on to our public comment, which is on agenda items only, a limit of 3 minutes for each public comment. And then we'll move on to one of the best parts of our agenda, which is our employee spotlight. And we're happy to have both Lindsay Stokerella with us and Anna Acharada with us as well. So congratulations to them, and we'll hear from them shortly. And then we go on to our general business. We have one ordinance on final passage. This is related to amending the classification of employment positions, as well as establishing salary ranges for employees. From that point, we'll move on and have reports from our departments. We'll be reviewing Mr. Kaloje's report, our CFO, and then also we'll be hearing from our health officer, Ms. Candace Davenport. Then we'll move on to our administrative reports. We'll hear from Ms. Riveros, our township administrator, Mr. Desiderio, our township attorney, and Ms. Fritzen, our township clerk. Then the next part of our agenda is reports from elected officials. We'll hear from Mr. DeLuca, then we'll hear from Ms. Adams, then we'll hear from Mr. Lembrick, and then from Mr. Davis. We have 3 discussion items this evening. The first one is regarding the January organization meeting. The second one is a resolution in support of NJ Senate Bill S 2964. And the third one is a resolution to support free and fair elections. We'll then go through our consent agenda, which has a total of 21 items on it. I will highlight a few of those for you. They include a land survey for services at the DPW site, our Boynton Avenue sanitary sewer replacement project, a total of 6 plus resolutions in relation to our initiative through our OEM team to really assist our businesses and help them during this upswing of COVID. So we'll be extending some of the resolutions that we put in place this year through December 31st of 2021. After that, we'll have a couple more resolutions. Some of them relate to our discussion items. And then also we'll be doing some authorizing of payments, open and closed minutes. Then after that, we will have our second public comment on any subject matter. And then we'll adjourn and go quickly into our ABC meeting, which I know several people are already on the line for. So that is our agenda for this evening. Apologize for being a few minutes late. We had a robust closed session, but we're here now. And now we'll start with the proclamation. Mr. Daffis, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me okay? Oh.
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure I wasn't muted. Our Transgender Day of Remembrance and Transgender Awareness Week proclamation. Transgender Day of Remembrance was started in 1999 by transgender advocate Gwendolyn Ann Smith as a vigil to honor the memory of Rita Hester, a transgender woman who was killed in 1998. And so began an important tradition that has become the annual Transgender Day of Remembrance. Transgender Day of Remembrance. Transgender Day of Remembrance is an annual observance on November 20th, and it honors the memory of those whose lives we've lost in the preceding year in acts of anti-transgender violence. Transgender Awareness Week is always annually from November 13th to 19th, and it serves to promote awareness, visibility, advocacy, and to celebrate our community of intersecting minority identities who face the bulk of violence, including trans people of color, trans people who identify outside the gender binary, and trans people with disabilities. It's sad but true that ever since 2010, when the Human Rights Campaign identified it as an epidemic, we are still today living in an epidemic of violence against transgendered persons, especially transgendered persons of color. And we have to do everything that we can to raise awareness about this, fight back against hate, and to honor those who we have lost. In Maplewood, we are diverse and welcoming and inclusive. We take pride that we all believe in the safety and prosperity, equality, and hope for all who live and work in our town. And we recognize the human rights of all citizens and support an end to all forms of prejudice, discrimination, and violence. So with our proclamation, we now therefore, I, Dean Daffis, Deputy Mayor of the Township of Maplewood, along with Mayor McGehee, on behalf of the entire Township Committee of Maplewood, we proclaim November 20th Transgender Day of Remembrance and November 13th through the 19th Transgender Week of Awareness in the Township, and call upon all of our residents to join us in celebrating our trans community in Maplewood and abroad, and increasing awareness of prejudice, bullying, and violence against our transgender neighbors. We're honored tonight to be joined in this awareness and celebration, call to action, and honor with our local trans advocate and fellow elected Vice President of the South Orange Maplewood School District, Shannon Cuttle. Mr. Michalowski, would you please ensure that Shannon is available to speak?
You got it, Mr. Daffis. Do you want to do it now or in public comment?
No, let's do it now. Just let us know when that has happened. I thought I saw Shannon there in the attendees, but, oh, there's Shannon as a panelist. Shannon, welcome, and would love to hear from you on this occasion, your remarks and your thoughts.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Dean Daffis, Mayor McGehee, and Maplewood Township committee members, my colleagues and friends. Thank you so much for recognizing Transgender Awareness Week and also the Transgender Day of Remembrance. And thank you again to the Township of Maplewood as a whole and our Maplewood and Soma MAPSO community for again coming together to recognize this important week of action and awareness and remembrance of our transgender and non-binary community. Deputy Mayor Dean Daffis, again this year, I want to acknowledge your efforts to make sure that we're ensuring the historic nature of continuing this remembrance, and thank you for that, and always your support to the transgender and non-binary community. If I may make a few remarks, Deputy Mayor, if you don't mind. And thank you again for the proclamation recognition. 2020 has been a challenging year for many, including the LGBT, transgender, and non-binary community. And right now I want to say to the LGBT youth, to the transgender, non-binary youth at home and families that are watching, that you are valued, that you and your identity are validated, you matter, you are loved, you are not alone, today and every day. And to those that came before us, we thank you, and we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. And for those that are coming up underneath us and will continue and take on these reins, we empower you, we thank you, and we are behind you 100%. Unfortunately, that within 2020 has been a challenging year for the transgender and non-binary community. And in 2020, we saw the highest rate of violence against the transgender and non-binary community in 2020, the highest ever. And unfortunately, now more than ever, our transgender and non-binary community, neighbors, friends, relatives, and colleagues need our support. And that is why, Deputy Mayor Dean Daffis, I would like to invite you to join me to please let us honor the names of those that we have unfortunately lost to the epidemic of trans violence, especially against our trans, Black, and persons of color community, our trans women that we have lost in 2020. And we say their names not just in remembrance, but we say their names to light the path and also to say their names in power. And at this time, I would like to move us to recognize and say the names of those that we've lost in 2020, with also saying that the names that we read tonight may not be all of the names that we should amplify and acknowledge, and that we give light to all of those that have been lost to anti-trans violence. But these are the names that we have known yet publicly through many media sources. And that globally, we have lost over 300 trans persons to violence. But we are focusing on our trans persons lost in America this year. So if I may, Deputy Mayor Dean Daffis, I would like to start with acknowledging Ashley Moore, age 26, from New Jersey.
Say their name, Shannon. Why don't you start the first five and we'll switch up every five. How about that?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Next is Mia Green, 29. Arian Burnett, 37. Gia Valentia Lamando Rodriguez, 46. Isabella Mia Lofton, 21.
Say their names. Ellie Shea, 23. Shelly Lynn Rose, 16. Key Sam, 24. Aja Raquel Roan Spears, 32. Quisha Hardy, 24. Tiffany Harris, 32.
Say their names. Angela Martinez Gamares, 42. Summer Taylor, 24. Bree Black, 27. Shaki Peters, 32.
Say their names. Marilyn Monroe Cazares, 22. Drea McCarty, 28. Mercy Mack, 22. Tatiana Hall, 22. Brayala Stone, 17. Brian Powers, no age listed.
Say their names. Dominique Remy Fells, 27. Rhea Milton, 25. Name unknown, age 16 to 17 or 16 to 20. Selena Reyes Hernandez, 37. Tony McDade, 38.
Say their names. Jane Thompson, 33. Haley J. O'Regan, 20. And Nina Pop, 28. Thank you, Shannon. The most powerful thing that we can do is to say their names. Lost to violence, but not forgotten. We honor them. We honor all those that we've lost, and we vow to do better, to grow closer together, and to stop this violence from continuing. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, the Township Committee.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Deputy Mayor Daffis. Every year you do this, it's heavy. To hear these names, it's just heavy. Oh, so on moving on, we now have our first public comment. It's on agenda items only. It'll be a limit of 3 minutes for every individual who would like to speak. Nick, do we have anyone who is raising their hand to speak at this time?
Mr. Mayor, at this time, there's no one raising their hand. Oh, I'm sorry, I got someone. Ms. Annette DePalma, you got 3 minutes.
Good evening, members of the Township Committee. I would like to acknowledge that this is Sonia, our business administrator's last Township Committee meeting. And I've worked with Sonia since she started as the assistant BA in town. And I would like to thank her for her smarts, energy, her wit, and her heart. And to add that it has almost always been a total pleasure to work with her. And given that she's my boss, almost always is really pretty good. So Sonia, thank you very much for your service to our community and for being a very valuable coworker. And I wish you sincere, warm regards and the best in your next adventure.
Thank you, Annette.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, next up, Mr. John Sullivan. You can unmute yourself. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I just want to, excuse me, I'm looking at a picture of my wife. I just want to commend the Township Committee for Resolution 306-20 that you will be passing this evening with respect to supporting free and fair elections. It's timely in that just at 7:20 this evening, we received notice that the president has announced the firing of the Deputy of Homeland Security official who's in charge of Director of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security, based on his comments that there was no fraud or disruption of this election. As part of that, I also want to commend citizens of Maplewood for the display that was shown on last Saturday in Maplewood Village when the election was finalized. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's everybody for now.
Thank you. And also thank you, Mr. Palmer, as well. We'll now.
I just asked the public that if Donald Trump concedes, can somebody raise their hand and let us know? Not going to happen.
Don't hold your breath.
Moving on to our agenda item number 7, it's now time for our employee spotlights. So, Mr. Limbrick. You're on mute.
Taking myself off mute was a good first step. So, it is my honor tonight as chair of the Public Safety Committee to recognize our first honoree, and that is Police Officer Lindsay Stokerella. It's really been a real pleasure for myself, and I think I can speak for all of my colleagues to say for the township to have had the opportunity to get to know Officer Stokerella for the last couple of years. She has truly been an outstanding addition to the Maplewood Police Department, and it's really nice to see her taking on a bigger role recently. And I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution of recognition and appreciation. Whereas the Township of Maplewood has been fortunate to have dedicated staff committed to the mission of our township, and whereas Police Officer Stokerella joined the Maplewood Police Department in September of 2014, she quickly became a mentor to her peers and an essential resource for her supervisors. Since January 2020, she has been assigned to the Training Bureau, where she works with Captain Malloy in assigning and conducting department training programs. Additionally, she has assisted in the development of the new redeveloped field training officer program, and worked to assist with the smooth delivery of police services on Election Day, which ran very smoothly here in Maplewood. Police Officer Stokerella is the type of employee that does not work to just the minimum acceptable standard, but seeks to go above and beyond, find deficiencies, and volunteers to work harder and stay later to make sure those things get accomplished. Whereas the Township Committee and the Township Administrator wish to acknowledge these actions and publicly express our appreciation and thanks to Police Officer Stokerella for the work that she has done to enhance the service provided by the Maplewood Police Department and improve the quality of life for all the residents of the Township of Maplewood. Therefore, be it resolved that the Maplewood Township Committee recognizes and appreciates the service of Police Officer Lindsay Stokerella of the Maplewood Police Department, and presents this resolution of appreciation and support to be duly recorded by the Township Committee on this 17th day of November in the year 2020. Thank you, Officer Stokerella. Lindsay, do you want to say anything?
Of course, you know I want to say something. I don't shut up. No, I just want to thank everyone for this recognition. The last year has truly been a pleasure, kind of getting and breaking out of that patrol division and kind of doing more for the town, seeing more of the town. I appreciate, like I said, the recognition from each and every one of you, and I look forward to just continuing, the standard and bringing more to the town as it's ever changing. So thank you.
Thank you. And I noticed we have Captain Malloy with us, and I don't think I'll be imposing too much to put her on the spot and maybe ask her to say a few things about Officer Stokerella.
Hi, hope you can hear me. Yeah, I just wanted to really thank Lindsay. I think it's an honor to recognize her. For the last year, you've really been doing a great job. I think it's really great things that we're doing as far as improving the training, the types of training, the trainers that we select for the police department. It's been an honor to carry out this new vision, and I really enjoy working with you. And I'm really, really happy, that the township has recognized your hard work, and I look forward to 2021.
Thank you, Captain. All right, thank you, Officer Stokerella. And Mr. Mayor, I'll turn the floor back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Limbrick and Lindsay. Thank you. You've been amazing. I won't tell the great stories that we have even before I joined the TC, but it's been great to see you continue to excel and be part of a department, a team going in the right direction. So bravo to you, well deserved. Thank you. Continue to do these great things. So thank you. We'll now have our second employee spotlight, and I'd like to turn the floor over to Mr. DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. We're going to spotlight Anna D'Archuleta, who is our Director of the Division of Arts and Culture, and who started with us about less than 6 months ago, and has really made a mark. So we have a resolution of recognition and appreciation. Whereas the Township of Maplewood has been fortunate to have dedicated staff committed to the mission of our municipality. And whereas we want to recognize this employee for her commitment to the community of Maplewood and fellow department peers by stepping up and addressing or leading projects, requests, or taking on responsibilities above and beyond. And I want to mention Anna for bringing energy to the position. It's been great how you've just energized the Division of Arts and Culture. Whereas the Township Committee and Township Administrator wish to acknowledge these actions and publicly communicate our appreciation and thank Anna for the work that she has done to enhance the services provided and the quality of life for the residents of the Township of Maplewood. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Maplewood Township Committee recognizes and appreciates the service of staff employee Anna D'Archuleta, Director of the Division of Arts and Culture, Department of Community Services, and presents this resolution of appreciation and support to be duly recorded by the Township Committee on the 17th day of the month of November in the year 2020. Congratulations, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vic and Mayor Frank and the Township Committee members. I was surprised to hear about this honor considering my short tenure, but nevertheless, I'm extremely grateful. I am so lucky to be part of this team, the Department of Community Service with Melissa and the Health Department, which I am there every week trying to figure out what the latest restrictions are so I can get my events going. I have to thank the residents of Maplewood. They've been amazing. I've gotten to know so many of them at the gazebo, and I know that I'll get to know the rest of them. It's just a pleasure. And my staff at Arts and Culture, they are wonderful. So yes, I hit the ground running. I think this town is amazing. It's full of art and it's full of phenomenal creative individuals. So I look forward to continuing the work and just keep going. And I have to say, happy birthday, Melissa.
Yeah, so we have the department director here, Department of Community Services, Melissa Mancuso, whose birthday it is today. So happy birthday, Mancuso. Would you like to say anything about Anna?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to just share with everybody how glad we are to have Anna on our team. She's a very welcome addition to Community Services. And although it's been a short time, she started during a pandemic and added so much already with all the limitations that we've had. So she's already up for a challenge right from day one. And just to name a couple of things that she added and we enjoyed was definitely the music downtown, which as a lover of live music has been a welcome relief to all of us missing our concerts and festivals. All the gazebo concerts were awesome this year. We love them all. So thank you, Anna. And residents of all ages enjoyed our virtual opera that she offered. And one of the things that she talked about initially and is already into fruition is the arts registry. So anybody who's watching, who is an artist, has services to offer, looking for an artist, I think it's an awesome resource in this awesome town. I think Summer, my dog, thinks so too. And welcome, and thank you so much for all that you've done, and we look forward to keeping the momentum going. So congratulations, Anna, keep shining.
Thank you, Vic, and thank you, Melissa. Happy birthday, and Anna, congratulations. you know, it was, this was a very desired position that, you know, that we brought you into. And, you know, you could have been like, hey, COVID's happening and we're just going to kind of plan some stuff out and then execute once we got through COVID. But you took a different direction. And as everyone said, Vic said he brought a lot of energy. You know, all of us have been to multiple gazebo events. They've been amazing. I was downtown when you had Bruno Lee and the music there. And it's just been a breath of fresh air, a silver lining in this cloudy COVID time. So thank you for all you do. And I know, you know, you have great ideas ahead. So we appreciate you and congratulations. Awesome. Two great Maplewoodians. We'll now move on to our ordinance on final. Ms. Fritzen?
Mayor, item number 8, ordinance on final passage, ordinance number 3010-20 is an ordinance to further amend classification of employment positions within the Township of Maplewood and to establish salary ranges for employees. This ordinance will revise classification of employment positions and salaries within the Township of Maplewood, consistent with a revision of the table of organization established within the Township of Maplewood.
This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Would anyone in the public like to speak on this ordinance in regards to salary range for employees and also classification of employment positions within the township?
I don't have anybody, Mayor.
Thank you, Nick. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion, Mr.
Mayor, if I may. We have recommended that this ordinance not be moved forward tonight, that there are amendments to this ordinance based on some additional changes that were made. Those changes are in fact substantive. So what I would ask is that there be a motion to approve the changes, and there would have to be a republication with final to be on December the 15th to allow sufficient time for publication and notice. There were some changes consistent with the revamping of certain departments, et cetera. So the original ordinance as drafted and as before you really does not reflect those changes. So that would be our recommendation.
So we should move this to decline it and then.
Well, you first move the changes and then defer it to the 15th for republication.
Can I get a motion?
So I move that we can do this in one motion.
We can do it in one motion, Mr.
Yeah, so I move we adopt the changes that are proposed and republish it and consider it on final on December 15th, 2020.
Second.
Any further discussion? Ms. Adams, Mr. Lambert. All right, hearing none, Ms. Fritzen, please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Mr. Lembrick?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Desiderio, and we'll move forward with those changes and then appropriately go from there in December. We'll now move on to agenda item number 9, which is reports from departments. We'll first hear from our CFO, who is on vacation, but is joining us all the same this evening. Thank you, and Mr. Closer, you have the floor.
What's happening?
Very sad.
Is your voice like Mickey Mouse on purpose?
There may be a lot of helium in that room, Mr. Kolodziej.
It's a good thing we got your written report.
And I was going to compliment him for wearing a tie on occasion.
Maybe it's too tight and that's why his voice is like that.
This might be an all-time Zoom moment for us this year, I'll tell you.
Oh, we needed that laugh. That was good.
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I would move his report. It was succinct.
Yeah, exactly. Because you want to try one more TK and stop laughing. Oh my God. Okay, Mr. Cloder, you want to say like 2 words, maybe? We're gonna like just cringe.
What is happening? Oh my gosh.
Mute your microphone, I'll put you through. Can you hear him?
We can hear something.
Hold on, go ahead, Jeff.
All right, am I still making loud?
Yeah, can you hear him okay?
Well, it's not as funny, but go ahead.
We're having fun on vacation, what can I tell you?
All right, we can hear.
To try and be a little serious on a couple serious topics. In regards to our budget, we have gross purchasing for the duration of the year. This will give us the ability to take a look at some of our appropriation reserves and cancel them prior to the end of the year so that we can use that in fund balance as a revenue source next year. We're also looking at examining any of our reserves to see if we can't pull some money out this year in order to help with the 2021 budget. But I will caution against using fund balance to balance our 2021 budget because all the rating agencies for bonding take a look at that number, and if we draw it down too low, we may be penny wise and dollar foolish in terms of incurring higher interest costs. On tonight's agenda, you have a resolution to approve the application down to the Director of the Division of Local Government Services for CARES relief. I fully expect that of the $2.6 million in lost revenue and the $1 million in expenditures that we're sending down, that we will get rejected on the expenditures and probably get cut a little bit on the revenue. This will preserve our ability to, at the very least, create a 5-year deferred charge so that we don't have to raise it all in next year's budget. If the governing body approves and the director approves, we will put forward a bond ordinance in December, first reading on December 1st, and then final adoption on December 15th, subject to the director's approval. That would also give us the ability to borrow money on those losses. While I think the deferred charge is certainly the better way to go, at the very least, the pool is going to require us selling a special emergency note in order to help them from a cash flow perspective. And then lastly, there's a resolution, 2 resolutions this evening regarding our audit. Just a quick overview of that audit. Last year we had 15 findings. This year we have 15 findings again. We had removed 8 from the previous year, but we had picked up 7 to bring us back to 15. 3 of the repeat findings we got rid of from last year. 3 of the repeat findings that are coming from the finance department are just work that goes all the way back to 2008. Right now, we've got through to about 2013, so I fully expect them to drop off next year as well. Some of the repeat findings were health department related, and we have a new health officer, so I fully expect that to drop off when we do our audit for this year in 2021. I think that pretty much covers it from my report. Sans the helium. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Kaloje, for that very thorough and well-versed report. Any questions for Mr. Kaloje?
I just wanted to add, Mr. Kaloje has been working really hard to make sure we're drawing down every dollar in the CARES money that we're eligible to receive. I did speak to the county representative for the CARES money to see if there might be any reshuffling of allocations from towns that underspent to towns that may have overspent. So he urged us to continue to submit our bills, which we will do, in the hope that we'll be able to get the reimbursement from CARES. If not, as Mr. Kaloje's memo said, we will be filing with FEMA for COVID-related expenses that weren't picked up in CARES. But preferably, we'd like to get the money from CARES.
Thank you, Mr. DeLuca.
Yes, because CARES does reimburse at 100%. In this particular case, the 75% from FEMA, the other 25% would be eligible for that 5-year deferred charge if we needed to go that route.
Thank you, Mr. Kaloje. Any additional questions for Mr. Kaloje? Okay, seeing none or hearing none, we'll let you go back to your holiday, Mr. Kaloje. And thank you for your report. Very, very special. Okay. See ya.
What? You should watch the recording, Mr. Kaloje. Watch the recording on YouTube so you can hear yourself.
All right. I don't even want. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kaloje. Wow. We'll now hear from our health officer, Ms. Davenport. Ms. Davenport, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor McGehee. Thank you, Township Committee, for allowing me to present to you this evening. I'd like to start with a review of our COVID case numbers. The numbers are stark and sobering. On October 6th, at our last Board of Health presentation on October 6th, we had 373 cases. At our last presentation earlier this month on November 2nd, we had 417 cases. That's an addition of 44 cases in that past month. As of today, November 17th, we have 508 cases. That is a doubling of 92 cases. So in 2 weeks, we have over doubled the amount of cases that we have in Maplewood from the previous month. We are moving the needle in the wrong direction, and it is taking a toll on our healthcare system, our public health system, and on the essential workers who are putting themselves at more and more risk every day. COVID-19 risk and exposure is unfortunately in every facet of our daily lives, and we can't stop it unless we change our societal behavior. Most of these cases in our town are from people having contact with positive cases and getting exposed through prolonged contact, notably either not wearing a mask or gathering indoors or both. Several of our cases are within the same household, which speaks to how quickly COVID-19 can pass within a closed setting like a house. And not everyone will experience it the same way. Even within a household, some people are more vulnerable to the disease and are sicker due to COVID and are having a longer recovery time because of it. I want to emphasize that these instances are preventable if we followed public health practices. With regards to our social behavior, and in particular for Thanksgiving, we are strongly advising people to limit their Thanksgiving celebrations to only those in their immediate household, which would be the safest way, as well as the governor reducing the private indoor gatherings to a max of 10 people. We need to go low and slow, meaning lower the number of people you see per setting or per gathering to less than 10 people, and slow down the frequency with which you see different groups of people. Finally, to reflect on comments about the kids around town who are not wearing masks, or for example, in the village and or in the parks. These seemingly large groups of kids may be assumed to be a reflection of the non-compliance of the masses. However, I want to point out that there are approximately 3,500 middle school and high school students in this school district. And what people don't see is all the people who are practicing prevention, all those kids who are staying home and are social distancing. You won't see them. And you don't see the kids who are wearing masks because they're doing exactly what they need to do. They're doing the right things, the necessary things, in order to keep everyone healthy, protect one another, and to stay healthy themselves. We need to stop now and face the reality, which means we need to wear masks at social gatherings, just like we do in public settings. And we cannot gather in large groups for now, and we cannot stand closer than 6 feet to those who are not of our household. We shouldn't go indoors probably at this time. All of this is to prevent further spread of disease. This moment in time, during this pandemic, on November 17th, this time asks that we all do our part to slow down the rate of infection in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davenport. I think you really brought a stark reality to all of us, and the numbers alone speak for themselves. But I think it's fair to say that it's our behavior as people, as individuals, residents, having indoor activities, as you articulated, that is, that's part of the issue that we need to really address. And I think the time has come to end this idea of I don't wear a mask because it's not going to happen to me and it's my freedoms. I think, again, it's the point now that you need to wear a mask. If you're, indoors, outdoors, everywhere you go, it needs to be the hashtag new normal. Playtime is over. So let's get these masks on. And you're right, a lot of times we hear about complaints about, young people in Maplewood, but you're right. Most of Maplewood, majority of our students, our young people are not the problem. They're not, and they're being blamed, and it's not right. But thank you for this telling report. And I know that this will get picked up by our local press, and it should. And I hope the points that you articulated tonight will resonate throughout social media and throughout our media outlets. Would anyone else like to say something?
Mayor, I'd like to follow up with Public Health Officer Davenport. I want to underscore a couple great points that she made and to dispel some of the myths that I've seen out there in social media and heard from others, if I may. So thank you, Public Health Officer Davenport, for that sobering update. We know that a lot of the recent cases have been among our youth. Can you explain how that is happening? Why are we seeing 11-year-olds and 9-year-olds? Last week we had a 1-year-old, a 1-month-old. Why are we seeing cases in our youth like that?
So without going into specific details, in general, the broad scope is that most of our exposures are household contact. So if one person brings it home, it spreads throughout the entire family. So unfortunately, there are these cases now that are coming up that involve younger children. So that's where they're coming from.
And now that we have a real contact tracing infrastructure in place that's pretty sophisticated, something we didn't have back in April and May. So now we can really trace a lot of these new cases back. Where would you say the majority of them are traceable to? You sort of alluded to it in your comments, but are we talking about outdoor dining here?
No. So let me clarify. Our cases are not coming from going out to a local business, dining out, shopping, or anything like that. Most of our cases are coming from, I had contact with someone, I was going out with them, I was in a social function, I was indoors, and perhaps I wasn't wearing a mask as much as I should have. Perhaps we were standing closer together, but it's more of a social interaction where we're seeing these things. I also want to clarify that back in March and April, we were in a lockdown. So our opportunity for exposures and gatherings were zero, right? Versus now we have, society's open, we are gathering, but I think we're pushing that gathering a little bit too far because unfortunately the cases and our risk of exposure is increasing tremendously.
Mm-hmm. And would you say, so outdoor dining is safe, retail is safe. We want to encourage our residents to patronize our businesses. That is not a health risk. Obviously, wearing a mask and keeping your distance and all the good things that we should be doing. Would you say that we're seeing a lot of cases in our youth sports activities?
In our youth sports, we are seeing cases in youth sports around our area. So our youth sports are not just intramural, we play with other towns. So we are seeing those cases rise up. But in our district, we are in constant contact with the school district and our teams and our private teams and our rec department. We're always talking about look, I have a problem. I think I've been exposed. I have a teammate who's been exposed. I have a coach who may have been exposed. What do we do? And we talk them through it, and we quarantine and we isolate and we do what we need to do to control the spread of the disease, which is why you haven't seen any outbreaks. And that is like a kudos to everyone who's done their part to follow the quarantine and isolation. I also want to go back to one more thing that you said, Deputy Mayor Davis, which is about restaurants. Usually when we go out to restaurants, we're dining with our own household, right? So you're not in constant contact with other people. Our restaurants, for example, have been very good about like keeping our interactions with patrons brief. They've moved the tables 6 feet apart. All of these are measures to keep dining safe enough so that we can dine safely. Everything has a risk, but they are doing exactly what they need to do. And usually when we dine, we're only eating with one person that we know, that we choose to. So the interaction, like I said, is low and slow, or we're eating with our own household. So I just want to reemphasize that again. It's usually our bigger, larger gatherings that are creating more risk of exposure.
All right, so the message tonight to our residents is please refrain from these large gatherings, outdoors or indoors, and certainly always wear a mask and keep your distance. So as people prepare for one of the biggest holidays in American tradition, the Thanksgiving holiday, you know, the intersection of tradition and love of family represents Thanksgiving, right? So what is our recommendation? Because I feel, how do people show love and celebrate their family this year during Thanksgiving, but do it in a safe manner? Because I know 10 is the recent indoor maximum guideline, but even 10 for a lot of people, that's a big party, you know? And a lot of homes in Maplewood have cooking for 10 people, having 10 people over, that's a party. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with 10 people right now with everything that's going on, especially if they're not people who are in my immediate household and with whom I've been in lockdown with for the past 8 months. So what do you recommend?
Right. So, you know, those in your immediate household, like if you have, if you're going to have people who are not in your immediate household, the recommendation from the CDC and from the state is to go outdoors as much as you can, but still wear masks when you're interacting with each other. Obviously take off the mask if you know, because you need to eat and to dine, but you put the mask on afterwards, and your interactions, you know, maybe your gathering is going to be shorter, but it'll be outdoors and you'll be wearing masks, and the number of people who you bring in are going to be smaller. So this is the intersection, you know, I think this is going to be the hardest holiday because it's the intersection of like love and family, and we all come together. And now is the time to show this very strange phenomenon that I love you, so I'm going to stay away. And this is for this year. I can't predict what's going to happen next year, but we have to do our best to make the sacrifice this year to protect the ones we love.
Thank you. That's very clear. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, as well. We'll make this information available, obviously, to the press who's with us tonight covering, and we'll also make it available on our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davenport. Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Health Chair, Mr. Daffis. We'll now move on to our administrative reports, and we'll start by hearing from Ms. Viveros in her last report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item, and that is for the business administrator replacement. So back at the beginning of November, we put out a RFQ, request for quotes from consultants or agencies to do the search for the business administrator position. We received those quotes from two, one from the Canning Group and one from Slavin Management. I made the recommendation to the Township Committee to go ahead with the Canning Group based on the quote, which he was the lowest bidder, and that he addressed all of the qualifications, and I thought made the best impression in order for you all to both expediently and of course carefully make your selection and make the process very thorough for all of you. So there is a resolution on listed in the consent agenda. So I just wanted to bring that up, and of course to let the community know in terms of like what the process is for the next business administrator.
Thank you, Ms. Viveros. Are there any questions for Ms. Viveros on her assessment, due diligence, and us moving forward with the Canning Group?
Mayor, I would simply suggest that the Township Committee might speak to the issue rather than just put it on the consent agenda. If there's agreement, then there's really not a lot of discussion, but you ought to at least voice your opinion with regard to it, my suggestion.
Thank you, Mr. Desiderio. Would anyone like to move forward on that suggestion?
Mr. Mayor, I'm of the opinion that we should move forward with the Canning Group. I think that, their reputation in the state certainly, qualifies them. I agree they were the most qualified bidder here. And I know that, they've successfully helped with a lot of previous searches. And I would think that they offer us the best opportunity to get a good crop of candidates for this position so that we can fill the big shoes that Ms. Viveros is leaving. So I would support this, and to the extent we want to make a motion now, I would certainly be happy to make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Limbrick. Would anyone else like to speak on Ms. Viveros' recommendation? Well, I'll speak on. I want to thank you, Sonia, for going through the due diligence process again into identifying the Canning Group as the ideal partner, vendor, if you will, that will help us through this transition process. Mr. Desiderio, because it is on the consent agenda, do we need to make a motion now, or please move forward?
No,
right?
not at all. If general consensus that that's where you want to go, but that's fine. So you're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'll just move the consent agenda later.
As you should. I hope you did. Ms. Viveros, would you like to say anything else?
Of course, Mayor. Well, first I wanted to thank you and of course the Township Committee for the last 4+ years in Maplewood. Especially want to thank Roger, who's been always sort of a level-headed person and someone who's helped me a lot, and I think I've grown a lot through all of this. So I certainly want to acknowledge all of you, because without you, obviously I wouldn't, it is I would say a compliment to you all that I've grown. So I want to thank also the department heads for being great support to me and a great team. You're going to be left with good, solid department heads, I have to say, generally speaking. So just again, thank you for the 4+ years here.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you very much. I think we'll probably in our elected official reports, you'll hear a few more thank yous, I think. Seeing no more questions for Mr. Viveros, we will now move on to Mr. Desiderio.
Mayor, I just want to report back that we've had some discussions about side triangle ordinances, and I have put a group together, including Ms. De Palma, Mr. Mendola, Mr. Singleton, and I'm probably Mr. Kittner. And we've had discussions about this. I've drafted 2 ordinances. I've sent it to them for comments and revisions, and we should have something to you for the next meeting with regard to site triangles. And the only other thing I want to say is that, since I don't get a chance to speak later, is to thank Sonia for her hard work over these last years as a Maplewood resident and as a member working with all of you. I appreciate her efforts. She clearly has done everything she can to make this a better place, and I think she's been successful in doing that. And Sonia, you will be missed. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Desiderio. Any questions for Mr. Desiderio? Hearing and seeing none, we'll now move on and hear from our Township Clerk, Ms. Fritzen.
Thanks, Mayor. So I just wanted to report on our Veterans Day program that we had on Veterans Day, Wednesday, November 11th, right at 11 a.m. It was a first. It was done a whole lot differently than we have ever done in the past. It was hugely successful. And again, thank you for all of your support, the Township Committee and Mayor McGee and your help. And again, I could never pull off the many programs that I'm asked to head up without my colleagues circling around and helping, because it was a success. We did hope for a few more veterans to come out, but of course, in these times, it's understandable. But we had a very meaningful and nice program, and hopefully next year things will be different. If not, we'll still have a Veterans Day in Maplewood. It was our 17th annual, so we would never say that we were just going to ignore the day. So again, thank you all very much. Just two other things later on in following the Township Committee meeting, we'll have two ABC matters which will be held. And yeah, item number one on discussion items is one that I'm going to speak to with the mayor. And basically, I just wanted to say a couple things. I'll certainly see Sonia enough in the next week and a half, but I want to say nothing but best wishes and good luck, Sonia, in your next position. I keep kidding you, saying that, you know, I thought I'd leave before you did, but you fooled everybody. So again, I know you're going to be great at what you do. I call you tenacious. That's a compliment. And hardworking and hard driven. And I think that you have many years ahead of you. And again, you did get your foundation in probably the greatest township in America. So take Maplewood with you. Never forget us. And again, I wish you so much luck, and I know you will be successful at everything you do and every step you take. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I always say too, you're only as good as your clerk.
I actually said to you that a clerk could make or break an administrator.
Thank you, Ms. Fritzen, and in beautiful words, by the way. Any questions for Ms. Fritzen? Hearing nor seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Fritzen. We'll now move on to our agenda item number 11, which is reports from elected officials. We'll now hear from Mr. DeLuca. Mr. DeLuca, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be quick because we have a lot more to do. But we should recognize that right about now, we'd probably be at Tony Vaz's party down in Atlantic City. But we're not there. We're here in Maplewood. So just three items quick. Happy to report, I know it's been out there, but want to say it here, that we were the recipient, or we will be the recipient of a state library bond grant in the amount of $8,388,250. It's an astronomical amount. It's unbelievable. And of course, these are matching funds. So as we've talked, the township will be putting up money. I met with the Library Foundation last night. They're excited. They'll be doing some more fundraising, but they're ready to go. We're going to put this together. We expect to sign the contract with the state in December. We're going to engage the architects right away. We met today with our fire and building over at the OEM building to look out as to how we're going to transition some of the library services there. And we're expecting to move out of the Baker Street building by September 1st and hopefully start that construction in the last quarter of 2021. So that's good news, very good news. The other thing I want to report on is our Maplewood Black Lives Matter Poetry Project. We have all the banners in, they've all been printed. We're now in the process of installing them around town. And probably in a couple of weeks, we'll have some type of celebration at the installation. And lastly, I just want to thank Sonia for her time here. I remember you coming in, Sonia, in our interview of you, and you telling us why we should hire you, and we did, and you made I think you made a passionate argument, and it was it was very convincing, and I think that we made the right decision. I had the opportunity as mayor to work with you very closely. We met weekly. We agreed on things, didn't agree on things, but I've seen you grow, and it's just great that you're going to take another a higher level position. You're moving up to being a city manager, which is an incredible position in this state. So my compliments to you for your personal growth. I would say carry with you your professionalism. You value that a lot, and that's something that I think others will see in you, that you are about doing business, doing it in a compassionate way, doing it in a professional way, and I think that's what we're looking for in public servants. So thank you for your time here in Maplewood, and good luck in your next part of your life. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. DeLuca. We'll now hear from Ms. Adams.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have a few engineering items. The Prospect Street pedestrian improvements that we've been working on, and especially Mr. DeLuca as well, with regard to MV5's report we're implementing. Those are underway now. They include a small island in the middle of the roadway on the Crescent, right across from Prospect Presbyterian Church, some intersection improvements with regard to crosswalks and striping, and all of that is taking place now and over the next week or so. We also have finally the long-awaited installation of the traffic signal on Valley Street at Pearson and South Pearson. So that intersection will be underway, so residents should be aware. The construction is due to start Thursday. There will be detours, so keep that in mind. Hopefully it won't interfere too much with rush hour, but there'll be some more traffic going through our neighborhoods around those streets. So that signal is an important one, and it'll be going in this week. Also, the timing of the signals on Springfield Avenue is something I brought up at Engineering Public Works, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, to try to stop the backing up of traffic. The lights were just kind of a mess. Turned out there were a lot of malfunctions and broken equipment, and it's taken a while, but our engineer has done a great job in working with the county and facilitating that. So that project was done this week. Engineering will also be double checking the timing in the coming days. So hopefully we'll keep cars from diverting themselves through Hilton or College Hill to try to avoid Springfield Avenue, and that'll move more smoothly. I also wanted to give my congratulations and thanks to the Maplewood Memorial Park Conservancy for their work. We had a ribbon cutting right after the Veterans Day service in Memorial Park at the Vietnam Vets Memorial, which was just refurbished after 10 years of kind of not getting a lot of love and care. So a lot of work went into that. So thanks to Deb Lyons, the chair of the Conservancy, and Jennifer Ryan, who is the landscape architect, who has spent a lot of time helping us in Memorial Park. I think that's, I just do want to reemphasize the Thanksgiving safety with regard to, at Veterans Day, I was thinking about all the births, birthdays, celebrations, holidays that our veterans sacrificed being with their families, and their families missed with their members who were in service to this country. And just want to remind residents that this is really a small thing for us to miss one Thanksgiving. It really won't kill us. And having a big party at Thanksgiving may very well do just that. So really need to be careful about it. I'm probably going to Zoom on just all day, but just really be reasonable. We'll all survive if we miss one Thanksgiving tradition, and just do it more safely with who you already live with. And then lastly, I just want to say thank you to Sonia, or Sonia's picture. She's back. Sonia, thanks so much. I think you remember what I whispered to you when we gave you the job after that meeting. And I'll just say that you didn't do what I told you not to do, which is awesome. So I won't repeat it here because there's foul language involved. So, but I really have enjoyed working with you, and I never had a moment's doubt that you were carrying the ball. I never worried that, the administration wasn't being done right or being done well or being paid attention to as an elected official. I knew that you were taking care of everything and doing so professionally and with guts as not only as a woman, but as a young woman, and taking on such a position. As a woman, I know what it's like to take on the position of authority when others might not respect that. So I just was really impressed with how you carried yourself and how you achieved so many things for us. And I'm sorry to see you go, and I will miss having you as our administrator. So best of luck, and please stay in touch. Let us know how you're doing.
Thank you.
That's my report.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. And thank you for those poignant words about COVID and Thanksgiving. I think that resonates with a lot of us, that, you're right. We were talking about the sacrifice of those veterans, and you're right. Like, you're missing one holiday tangibly for the greater good of everyone, I think is well worth it. So thank you for those words. Mr. Limbrick, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a number of items. First, from the Public Safety Committee. We are, with Ms. Riveros' departure on November 25th, starting on November 26th, we're going to need someone to serve as the appropriate authority for the Maplewood Police Department. So I'm going to make a motion tonight that we appoint Mr. Joseph Kaloje to be the interim appropriate authority for Maplewood Township beginning on November 26th, 2020. I think Mr. Kaloje certainly has the experience and is in a good position to fill that role. My expectation is that whoever is ultimately hired as the new township administrator will eventually take over this role. But in the interim, I think that Mr. Kaloje is the best person to serve that job. So I would make a motion that we appoint Mr. Kaloje as the appropriate authority beginning on November 26, 2020.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Ritson, please call the roll.
Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Dacus?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Limbrick?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Ritson. Mr. Limbrick, continue, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, from the Maplewood Fire Department, Chief Weber and Deputy Chief Ariema have held several meetings with Chief Sullivan and his team over at the South Orange Fire Department to iron out details of the automatic response agreement that was voted on by this Township Committee and the South Orange Board of Trustees. There have been discussions of joint training as well to go along with that automatic response. This is an ongoing process, but good progress has been made. So I want to thank our chief and our deputy chief, as well as their counterparts in South Orange, for moving forward on that. I think that's going to make all of our residents safer and also all of our firefighters safer to be able to respond immediately with larger teams and also to do the joint training. Finally, to wrap up my report from the Public Safety Committee, I have some good news and some disturbing news in terms of our crime statistics in town. You know, and I think all of this may be to some extent attributable to the pandemic, but robbery is down 36%, burglary is down 52% over last year, thefts are down 17%, and motor vehicle theft is down 28%. Unfortunately, I mentioned one disturbing statistic, and that's that there has been a rise in assaults this year. Assaults are up nearly 25%, and that's despite the fact that some situations, such as in and around the schools that are sometimes fights that are the source of assault statistics, have not existed this year. The chief of police attributes this rise to a pretty extreme increase in domestic violence this year here in our township, and I'm sure those of you who've read stories from other areas and around the country know that Maplewood is not alone in this, but it's just important for us to remember that we're also not unique and not exempt from this. Domestic violence, has always been an issue in Maplewood, as it is everywhere, but particularly this year in 2020. And I know that our police department and our public health department are working on getting out resources to the community that can help us to address that, both in terms of prevention and also in terms of giving resources to people who may be victims of domestic violence or know of domestic violence going on in our community. Next, moving on to the Recreation Advisory Committee, I want to remind the public that there will be a forum held tomorrow night via Zoom. That's tomorrow, Wednesday evening, beginning at 7 p.m. This is to discuss ideas for improvements and potential amenities to be added to Maple Crest Park. This is the second such meeting. The link is on the Township website and has also been widely distributed on social media, but if you don't have it, want to attend and can't find it, you can certainly call Town Hall and they can also help you to find that information. And I encourage folks, especially in the Maple Crest Park area, but really anyone who's interested in our open space in town and our recreational facilities, to join us tomorrow night to hear ideas and also share your own. I'd like to now add my voice to the well-deserved chorus, singing the praises of Ms. Averos and wishing her farewell and good luck. Sonia, like Mr. DeLuca, I recall that meeting where you came to 1618, came to the police department over the summer during one of our summer meetings when we used to have those over at the police department, and going up to the chief's conference room. And you probably didn't realize at that point how much time you end up spending in that chief's conference room, but it's really it was really a great hire for us when you first came on board. I think it was a great promotion when you took over for Mr. Manning when he retired, and it's really been a pleasure to work with you. Even in the times where we've disagreed, you've always been straight with me, and I hope you would say that I've always been straight with you, and I've appreciated our candor, and it's something that I really value. I always knew where you stood, and I knew that you would give me a straight answer to my questions. And I also knew, as Ms. Adams said, that the town hall in our township was in good hands with you at the wheel. So I want to wish you farewell, but hopefully not goodbye. Hopefully you'll keep in touch and still remember us here. Remember that that we knew you when, and I want to thank you and wish you good luck in Englewood. I know you'll do a great job there, and their community is lucky to have you. Finally, I'd like to make somewhat of a personal announcement. With the 2020 campaign now behind us, at least outside of Georgia, attention soon going to turn to the 2021 election cycle. And while next November is still a long way away, the process of candidates declaring for office begins shortly after the new year. And with that in mind, I think tonight is an appropriate time to share with the public my decision that I will not be seeking re-election to the Maplewood Township Committee next year when my second term expires. It is an honor to serve this community, and I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to do so for the past 5 years, as well as to continue doing so for the next 13 months. I also deeply admire several people who've served on this committee for more than 2 terms, including my colleague, Mr. DeLuca, former mayors Fred Profeta, Alan Davenport, and Jerry Ryan, and former Deputy Mayor Kathy Leventhal, among others. But 2 terms are enough for me. It will have given me time to accomplish, or at least make my best attempt to achieve, all of the goals that I set out when I first decided to pursue this office. I'm making this announcement now because I would like to give residents who may be interested in serving on the Township Committee ample opportunity to consider whether they might like to run. Each of my colleagues, as well as those who've served on this committee before, knows the enormous time commitment and personal dedication that this role requires. These sacrifices impact not only the person serving, but also their family, friends, and coworkers. I'm confident that many people in our town have the potential to be outstanding members of the Township Committee, but most of them probably could not commit to running on short notice. My hope is that by making it clear that there will be at least 1 open seat in next year's election cycle, those folks will have sufficient time to consider where they can serve in this role and make the plans and possible adjustments to their lives that it may require. I want to give these residents plenty of runway to have conversations with spouses, children, bosses, and others in their lives as they evaluate whether they can make this commitment. It's my sincere hope that strong candidates will emerge, and I'd welcome the opportunity to speak with anyone who may be interested in exploring this opportunity. Of course, this is not goodbye. My term runs through next December, so I will still have more than a year to continue to work hard and make a difference for Maplewood. We have much important work to do during that time, and I look forward to collaborating with my colleagues and our incredible township employees to keep making Maplewood a more perfect community. While I have no current plans to run for any other political office, I cannot imagine living the rest of my life without being involved in public service in some capacity, whether elected or not, and my family plans to continue to call Maplewood home for many years to come. It is an honor to serve this township, and I look forward to passing the torch to someone who will be as proud to do so as I am. Mr. Mayor, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Greg. Thank you. We'll now move on and hear from Mr. Daffis, Deputy Mayor Daffis.
Thank you, Mayor. It's tough to follow that eloquence of Mr. Lembrick. Greg, thank you. You've always been a very eloquent speaker and writer, and I've enjoyed serving with you. Like you said, this is not goodbye. We still have 13 months to go, and I look forward to those. We've certainly had our disagreements publicly, but you know, what I like about you is that you're very true to yourself and you're very honest, and that takes a lot of courage, frankly. And it's undervalued, that type of courage in public service. So I value that, and you've inspired me in my service here in town. So I look forward to the next 13 months. And I think what you're doing tonight by giving others a chance to prepare is a great courtesy and continued service to the community. So thanks for doing that. My report tonight is going to focus on a couple of items. Our businesses. We're all concerned about our businesses. This is a really tough time for all of us, and our small businesses are really struggling. So, you know, as we prepare for the holidays and we start thinking about shopping for the holidays, please shop local. Please patronize our businesses. We're doing everything that we can at the government level to support our businesses to get out of their way to ensure that they continue to thrive even during these uncertain times. Later, or shortly rather, we will be adopting resolutions which will further extend the policies, the expansive policies that we've adopted in favor of outdoor dining and sidewalk retail. We're going to carry that through the end of next year. And we're on the ground, many of us, Ms. Adams, Mr. DeLuca, myself, the mayor, we're on the ground talking to our businesses daily. We're helping them navigate all of the restrictions and the changing rules and putting up tents and separating their tables and finding heaters and weatherproofing their tents for the coming winter. So this is our businesses are very important to us, and we have a very close relationship with them. So if you want them to succeed, don't shop everything on Amazon. It's easy to do that. I know it is, but really shop local. And I want to highlight that there's a couple of campaigns that our businesses are doing on both sides of town, in both business districts, in the Village and on Springfield Avenue, and in partnership with South Orange to just encourage local investment back into our businesses by our residents. There's a Shop Local Soma campaign. You can see it on Facebook or in Instagram. The hashtag is Shop Local Soma. Between November 16th and November 30th, the more you visit our businesses, the more chances you get to win some really pretty awesome prizes. You're entered into a raffle. And our very own Kamaya is spearheading this promotion. We're also doing a couple of upcoming markets in Maplewood Village on December 5th. We're going to take the Art Walk approach. We're going to close down all of the streets and allow for pedestrian mall throughout the village between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Please come on out, weather permitting. It's a great opportunity, again, to shop local and to really experience and to give back to our businesses. You know, our businesses that are hurting right now and who are spending money they don't have to stay in business, they're also taking money out of their own pockets and their own survival to give back to our community. Our diner, our Coda, our diners on both sides of town who've been so instrumental in delivering food to seniors and to giving food to food banks, right? And our pantries, our salons that have given free haircuts and makeovers, making people smile and giving them a reason to find some joy during these dark times. Let's take care of them, and let's in turn return the favor to our businesses who even right now are thinking beyond themselves and helping others. So the Shop Local Soma is a big deal on December 5th. Look out for the special event in Maplewood Village. Also, the tree lighting is going to be happening in the village, along with Dickens Village. Of course, it's going to be a lot different this year. The houses will go up as they always do, and Santa will be there, but there'll be no sitting on Santa's lap. There'll be no animals. And the tree lighting is going to be by drive-in only. You'll be able to come and experience it in your vehicle in the parking lot or by driving through and around the village when the tree lighting occurs, and look out for confirmation of those details shortly. Our menorah lighting is also happening this year. I believe they've just put in an application to do so in person like we usually do it. But again, you know, it'll be different. It'll feel different, but we're still going to carry on with some of our traditions and bring some joy where we can. Changing entirely tracks to policing matters, I just want to report that we do have 2 openings on the Community Board on Police. One at-large community a community at large member, and one designee from one of our working charter group member, Soma Action. We've advertised about the 2 openings, and the deadline to send in your submissions is Friday, December 4th, before the close of business. And that concludes my report. But I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate Sonia. A lot has been said, Sonia, that I'd like to repeat, but what I want to say about you is that you're really a superstar, and you're a superstar in a traditionally man's world. Business administrators are not frequently women, and they're not young women like yourself. You have not just smarts, but you have incredible grit and tenacity. After a very difficult year here in Maplewood, which was difficult around the world because of the pandemic, but because of some of the issues that we had to deal with here in our town this year, you didn't make a safe choice. You decided to go even bigger than your current role by becoming a city manager in Englewood. And that just shows not only how much you've grown, but it shows your character, and that you really are a superstar. And I think that you're going to go even higher than that after Englewood. So I'm sorry to see you go, but Englewood is lucky to have you, and you leave behind some really great things that you've done for Maplewood, and Maplewood is all better because of you. So it's not goodbye on sad terms, but for me, it's congratulations, go get them. And I wish you all the best, to you and to your family. I hope that it's a great role for you. I hope it's a great fit, and I hope you and your family enjoy everything that you're going to be experiencing in the new year. So all the best. That's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Daffis. I'm going to start my report with just recognizing Sonia. When Sonia came in to interview for the role, not everybody thought that she was the right person for the job. I personally immediately thought that she was the right person for the job because Sonia was hungry, and Sonia was confident, and Sonia was seeking opportunity. And when you are the new person in the block and someone's been doing something for a long time, like in this case, Mr. Manning, who was with us for decades, some concepts were like, hey, we should go with someone more experienced, who's been in other towns, but you spoke to understanding what it meant, the passion that it takes to be a leader. And the reason why I'm starting my report talking about you, because this is the most important issue tonight. Outside of COVID, this is the most important issue tonight, because you're our COO. You are our person who runs the day-to-day operation of our town. And I remember telling you, like, you're the COO. You're like, you're the one. You're the one I want to push out there in front and let everybody see that, you're the one that's, managing the day-to-day operations, because all of us are volunteers. Most of us have day jobs or retire. So we balance, as Mr. Olympic, beautifully said, it's a heavy balance of having 2 full-time jobs. This is a volunteer role on steroids versus any other volunteer role you'll find in our township. But we couldn't do it. We can't do it without you being there to take care of everything, the little things. And in your tenure, you've done exactly that. I said to you when you were chosen, I said, be your queen, be your own queen. I said that. I didn't whisper in your ear, or I didn't say, I said, be your queen. And you have been the queen. You've led us. You've dealt with issues that some we can't talk about and some we can. But you've had to go deep inside of departments and really turn them around. You've been thoughtful about ways we can do operations differently than we ever thought before. You have fought hours and hours on behalf of the residents of this town for the better good, to make sure that their 25 cents is being well spent. So an opportunity came to you, an opportunity for advancement, for opportunity. and you did the right thing. You took it, unfortunately, because I didn't see you leaving. I wanted you to stay. I wanted you to be part of, as I grow into this role. But I know you're going to grow into your role and continue to grow. And you're a leader. And leaders are hard to come by. And you've dealt with, good times and bad times. As many of my colleagues say, sometimes they agree with you, they don't agree with you. There's politics, there's a lot of other things. But all in all, you have moved forward and done it for the better good of people. And that's the only reason why we should be doing these roles as elected officials or serving in the public for people. And you, Sonia, have done exactly that. So when I had the opportunity to sit with you, when you were making this decision, I walked away hoping and praying that you would stay with us. And, and that wasn't the case, but I respect that. You made the best decision for you and your family, for your career, for an opportunity to be hungry and keep that hunger and keep that professionalism and keep being the person that you are, a person of character, a person of passion, and a person of the people. So I love you. God bless you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for the conversations, for listening to, my vacation suggestions, everything that we've had a chance to share in our tenure together. I've been here for 4 years on the Township Committee, and so have you. So bless you, Sonia.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm now going to talk about a little more township-related business. First and foremost, it is public knowledge that King's is in the process of being sold to a larger conglomerate, Acme. And so it is true that the organization is looking to potentially sell off the King's grocery store in the village. We are cognizant of that, but we are working very closely with the corporate office and their team to help in any ways possible as they work through a broker process to find new ownership for King's in the January timeframe. King's is equally interested in finding a new ownership as well. So all of my colleagues are going to be turning over every stone and working collaboratively to make sure that we have a new King's or another grocery store stepping in place of King's where it is today. So just know that we're working diligently on that behalf. And in terms of all our businesses here in the township, we are working very closely to help them. We sent a communication out last Friday regarding the governor's latest executive order. But in that communication, if you read it carefully, it talks about how we are partners with our SIDS, partners with Ridgewood Row, partners with all of our businesses across all verticals, trying to find a way to help them through this pandemic. And we're going to do everything in our power to do that. And we appreciate their transparency and their candidness as well. For some of you that may have not read, our Turtles in a Bread Stand had a situation and they decided to close for a couple of days to be conservative. They'll likely be opening toward the end of this week, but they're looking out for the greater good of us as a community. And I think that is very important. Other restaurants have decided to stop indoor dining. We'll continue to do takeout. We have to support our local restaurants and support all our businesses. It's vital at this time because as Ms. Davenport communicated, a lot of things that are happening with COVID aren't direct correlation to our restaurants or our businesses. It's our personal activity to a certain extent. So let's work together. Let's spend our dollar locally so that we can try to get through this pandemic. There's more to come. We'll be working diligently, our OEM team and all our department heads to find ways and solutions to help keep our town moving forward. And businesses are coming and we're still moving forward in terms of opportunity for our town. We're not sitting dormant. And then as all my colleagues already articulated, we are doing about the business of our town, pedestrian safety, the work we're doing on Prospect, our light on the fight that all of us have collectively fought to get that stoplight on Pearson. It's here, it's coming. These are ongoing work that we're doing for the better good of our town, even under these challenging times. I also want to recognize my colleague, Mr. Limbrick, for his comments tonight. I remember when Greg decided to put his hat in the ring in 2015, you know, and I was, you know, part of his team to help him get elected, you know, and so what I appreciate is that he's being honest and real with the people he serves. He's saying that I'm giving you 100%, but you know, the time has come, and he wants to afford the people who are interested the opportunity to understand what it means, the sacrifice, the pure sacrifice it means for you and your family and your coworkers, if you want to move forward in this capacity that we all five have the great honor to serve in. And speaking of honors, I want to recognize Stan Varon, who is being honored by the Essex County Bar Association in celebrating his 50 years at the bar. It's very ironic that Stan and Fran were my first neighbors in Maplewood. So it's an honor to recognize the great Judge Stan and his beautiful wife, Fran. I also want to take a brief moment to talk about, you know, that the Green Team is also moving forward with our Styrofoam initiative. So in this quarter, we're being lax, if you will, we're going to put some awareness pieces out, but come January 1st of 2021, we'll be more mindful because our environment is continuing to happen even under these COVID times. Finally, I wanted to talk to my colleagues about approval of a resolution amending our contract with Manitou. Manitou is the third party that we hired, the consultant firm we hired to do an analysis on a potential consolidation. And so we would like for them, as we've been ongoing in conversations and data and things change, you know, we'd like to have them come and update their analysis of the operation efficiencies of a potential consolidation. The cost for that would be about $3,500. And I would like to potentially put that in as a resolution. I would need Mr. Desiderio to assist me on this and also see if I can get that moved. And then I have a resolution that we need to Maplewoodize, but I would love to move forward with that.
I move the amendment of the contract for up to $3,500 with Manitou.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Fritzen, please call the roll.
Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Dacus?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Mr. Lembrick?
Yes.
Mayor McGee?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Fritzen. And I also want to thank Ms. Fritzen for a phenomenal Veterans Day. It's a lot of work, and it's even more work when you have to set up the way you did with all the social distancing, and you know, and our Department of Public Works is involved. Our police did a great job coming on the back of a drive-through flu clinic. There was a lot of activity, a lot of balls to juggle. You know, to Carrie Capone and to Bruno Lee and Father Jim and our quartet. Just, you know, wonderful work by everyone. So that is my report, and we'll now move forward to our discussion items in the agenda. Our first discussion item, which is for agenda item number 12, is the January reorganization meeting. And so Ms. Fritz and I will tag team this one. But essentially coming off of this, our conversation about all things being you know, virtual this year, and the concern about indoor activities for the first time probably in the history of our township. We want to exercise or explore the idea of doing a virtual reorganization day. So Ms. Fritzen, you want to add more to this?
Basically, now would be the time that the decision's pretty much been made for us. But, you know, how much did you want to put into a January reorganization meeting? I mean, you can do a lot with Zoom. just to open up the conversation of what the township committee and the mayor's expectations would be of what kind of program we would have on that day.
Yeah, I'll say that I know that we've sworn people in, in very private settings, of course, in town hall, outside of meetings. I'm not sure how we want to go about this. In 6 months from now, we may have to be outside for everything, and then we have inclement weather. So it's really a discussion. So I'd love to really especially hear from Mr. Daffis and Mr. DeLuca, as it's a very important day for both of them, because that's their day. And just like to get some input from both of you.
Go ahead, Mr. DeLuca. You can go first. Senior member here.
Well, I think if it's on Zoom, it ought to be short and sweet.
Yeah.
My speech doesn't have to be more than 45 minutes. But no, I really think we should stick sort of to the business, swearing us in, electing the chair, vice chair for the year, making the appointments. It's very hard to keep these going, to make it interesting. So I would keep it a little tighter. I wouldn't have all the music, or of course we'd have the state of the township address, but I would do away with the music. I don't know about the award. We usually designate someone, we could decide that, but.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. DeLuca. Mr. Daffis.
Thanks, Mayor. I agree with that. I think we should keep it short and sweet, do it on Zoom, and I'll keep my remarks to 45 seconds if it gets us 45 minutes.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing to carry on the tradition of having a theme and using that theme to recognize someone in the community or a community group. I think we can do that pretty quickly by way of a proclamation like we've done tonight. But, we can discuss that certainly. And I do think that's what we should do. And I'm okay with that.
Thank you, Mr. Daffis. Ms. Adams.
I have nothing to add other than I never heard Dean say anything in 45 seconds. I don't think it'll start on reorg day.
Challenge accepted.
All right, cool.
I remember Ms. Adams used to always talk about, do we start at 10 or noon? Remember that?
No, I'd like it to be 2 in the afternoon.
Oh,
but
that was like 2, right?
if we're going to be remote, I can just be in my pajamas, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Mr. Limbrick, any comments, any thoughts?
None at all. I concur with everything that's been said, and I look forward to hearing your remarks, regardless of length. but brevity is the soul of wit.
That's very fair, Greg. Very fair.
Great. Well, so as an action item, Ms. Fritzen, maybe you and I could huddle up and then some initial ideas, disseminate it to everyone, all my colleagues, and then start to flush this out. I don't know, it needs to be a discussion item. We can do it through email and then in preparation for Jan 1.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Our second discussion item is in regards to resolution in support of New Jersey Senate Bill 2964. Mr. Daffis.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Senate Bill 2964. The prime sponsor here is Senator Vin Kapal. And we've done this before. We've supported other previous attempts in Trenton to effectuate liquor license reform, because we get it. We know how important it is to our small businesses, our BYOB restaurants in particular. And so I would be asking for for us to do the same, especially right now during the pandemic when our restaurants are struggling. This legislation, which is moving quickly and has bipartisan support, is, dare I say it, a little bit more exciting than previous efforts at the same, because traditionally Senate President Steve Sweeney has stood in the way of such restricted licenses because the bill or the legislation did not provide for a credit mechanism or some tax credit to existing retail consumption licensees who obviously bought their licenses at greater amounts, right? But this bill does. And the details of it are yet to be determined how that tax credit system would work. But essentially, consumption licensees would sort of be made whole. They would get something in return to allow for other businesses to have this restricted opportunity. So I think we should definitely support it. We understand it. We've supported it before. And we can adopt that immediately tonight if you're all for it.
It's on the consent agenda, right?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I'll move it.
All right, there it is. And that's right, Mr. Limerick will move it. So thank you, Mr. Daffis. We're now on to discussion item number 3, resolution in support of free and fair elections.
Right. In light of the recent threats to our free and fair elections and reports, worrisome reports to circumvent the results in the national election, I think we should affirm our support for, the foundational pillars of our democracy, that all votes must be counted without interference or intimidation, that incidents of fraud, voter suppression, or other election irregularities be investigated impartially and remedied as appropriate, and that the true election results must be respected regardless of who the winner is. And so with this resolution tonight, we would be affirming that, and I ask your support accordingly.
Agreed.
Same.
Of course.
Perfect.
Also the consent agenda, so we're good.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Daffis. And with that beautiful segue, we'll now move on to agenda item number 13. May I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move items 1 through 21 on the consent agenda.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Fritzen, please call the roll.
Adam,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Lundberg,
Yes.
Mayor McGee.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Fritzen. We're now on agenda item number 14, which is a public comment on any subject matter. Nick, do we have anyone who would like to address the Township Committee?
No, sir.
Great, hearing none, we'll close that. I'll now move to agenda item number 15, a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn and organize as local ABC.
Second.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. That concludes. Ms. Fritzen, I'm now turning it over to you for the ABC. You have the floor. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We're gonna now convene as the Maplewood Local ABC. So there'll be 2 matters to be heard tonight. Let me first take a roll call vote of the Maplewood Local ABC. Please signify by saying aye. Ms. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Daffis?
Aye.
Mr. DeLuca?
Aye.
Lundberg?
Aye.
Mayor McGee?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the first item tonight is a change of corporate structure request from Eat Drink New Jersey LLC, trading as Pickett's, which is located at 2208 Milburn Avenue. And a change in corporate structure is adding on Daniel J. Hayes, 0.75%. Amy H. Hayes, 0.75%, for a total of 1.5%. Now, the applicant has complied with the ordinances of the Township of Maplewood. The applicant has disclosed all pertinent information to the transfer. The applicant was published on October 8th and October 15th, 2020, in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, their intentions of the change in corporate structure, and no objections were received by myself as the secretary to the Maplewood local ABC. Mr. Desiderio,
Yes.
did you want to swear in Daniel J. Hayes and Amy H. Hayes? Also with us tonight is Doug Sasfi, also of Pickett's.
Yeah, if you'd all just raise your right hand, please. Mr. Safai, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Mr. Safai, you are the managing member of the entity who holds the liquor license, is that correct? Could you unmute yourself? Okay, we got you. You are the managing member of the entity?
You don't appear to be muted, Doug, but we can't hear you.
Looks like you're frozen or something.
Okay, we'll try this a little differently.
No, he wasn't before.
Okay, the Hayeses, you are seeking to become members of this liability company, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Safai, if you can at least nod your head to me, you are in agreement with that?
It doesn't look like he can hear.
That's fine. Can you hear me? Doesn't look like he can do either. Hear or speak to us.
He could speak if he could hear. Yeah, he can't hear.
I just need is okay. Let me shortcut this. Okay, members of the ABC, you have before you the application, or you have seen an application wherein Mr. Safai, as the managing member, has agreed that the Hayeses would join the limited liability company on a limited basis at 0.75% each for a total ownership interest of 1.5%. All right, so they'll therefore become members. Ms. Fritzen has indicated to you that they've gone through all the necessary checks and there have been no objections. Do you have any questions for anybody with regard to this transfer? It's not a transfer, I'm checking ownership, I'm sorry.
No.
No.
Is everybody okay with it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you need
All right,
a
will
motion,
somebody-
Mr. Desiderio?
Will somebody make a motion,
I
please?
move it.
I will
Second.
second it.
Sacks,
Yes, absolutely.
Davis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Flambrick,
Yes.
Mayor McGee.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Okay, you're fine.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
You're under oath. Did you enjoy the meeting?
You did a good job.
They're no longer under oath.
No, they're under oath. Did you enjoy the meeting?
I enjoyed it very much. It's a delight to see the magic of government in action.
There you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it magic, but okay.
Democracy in action.
Congrats.
Not sure if that's 2 or 3 words.
Not anytime soon, but hopefully soon. All right, bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
Ms. Fritzen?
Yes, sir. Next, we have item number 2. It's a person-to-person transfer, MAPETAV LLC to M160 LLC to Pocket. Plenary Retail Consumption License Number 071133020-011. The applicants in all respects have complied with the requirements of the statutes of New Jersey. The applicant has complied with the ordinances of the township. The applicant has disclosed all pertinent information to the transfer. The applicant has submitted a sworn statement affirming that they will assume all outstanding obligations of the transfer. The applicants received a tax clearance from the state of New Jersey. The applicant has published on September 24th and October 1st in the Maplewood South Orange News Record intentions of the purchase. No objections were received in writing to me, secretary to the local ABC. So right now, Mr. Desiderio, I'll turn over to you.
Mr. Alexander, you want to just put your appearance on the record, please?
Yes, Craig Alexander from Mandelbaum Salzburg, representing the applicant.
Mr. Alexander, would you explain to us exactly what the intent here is, please?
The intent is to essentially reclaim ownership of the license. You're all aware that the Cassidy went out of business. Part of the agreement that my client had with Cassidy was that in the event it should go out of business, the license would return to the landlord. And in very due course, we expect to be filing an application to transfer the license to a new operator of the restaurant.
Okay. Mr. Forgione here, are you on, Mr. Forgione?
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm well, sir. Thank you.
Well, we hopefully we entertained you this evening. So. Okay. Mr. Forgione, you heard what Mr. Alexander said. So this license is going to come back into an entity that you and your partner control. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Alexander, you're okay with me asking him questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. And my second question is, for right now, you intend to just have this as a pocket license. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions from the ABC?
None.
No.
Me.
Okay. Would somebody make a motion, please?
Move it.
Second.
Adams,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Mr. Lambert,
Yes.
Mayor McGee.
Yes.
This concludes our meeting of the local ABC. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, gentlemen. Stay safe.
Thank you very much.
Move
Thank
to
you.
adjourn.
Ms. Fred,
Okay. That's it. We don't have to adjourn.
I just moved it.
A second.
Second.
Aye. Aye.
Davis, Mr. DeLuca.
Could you
Yes.
all hold on, please? Could you all hold on, please?
Sure.
I just want to make sure that they're just the five of you and Roger in here, please.
Okay, let us finish adjourning.
Okay. I just need to go back into closed session, please.
Okay.
All right, let's just take that vote again that we are adjourning the meeting of the Maplewood local ABC. Ms. Adams,
Aye.
Ms. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Mr. Lambert,
Yes.
Mayor McGee.